Do not attempt to adjust your podcast player. We are controlling the transmission. We are here to be your guide, helping you to explore local events, the art scene, music, theater, sports, and possibly a conspiracy or two. All here on the GCRX Radio and Podcast Network.
Years ago today, I had my wisdom tooth removed. Welcome. Hello, everybody.
Random facts of the day.
Random facts of the day. Welcome to GCRX here in Granite City in the Metro. I am your host, Brian with a Y, your favorite guy. I've got a full studio today. Super excited about my guests, some of my favorite people in the entire world. I don't know if I can clearly and non-profanely articulate how much I love these people. If you saw the live that I went on about 10 minutes ago, my twin sister is not doing super well. She's a little under the weather and she couldn't make it. However, the folks that I have in the studio today, two of my favorite people all time. Welcome those of you who are watching. Welcome those of you who are watching live and the replay. Hello, Blair. Happy birthday to Rachel Ducrepin in New York. Haha, got that out of the way. On to the guests. So I've got with me, as always, Engineer Bill.
Sup?
And the two people that I have, whom I absolutely love and adore, I have my niece and my nephew here. And it sounds so cheesy, like, oh, he brought his niece and his nephew on. No. You don't understand these kids. They are absolutely effing phenomenal people, like as human beings. Their parents are doing an amazing job with them. I have over here, I gotta, I'm not even gonna lie. There's sometimes I'm trying to introduce them to people and I go, oh yeah, that's my nephew. And then I forget that he actually has a name. It's Andrew McElroy, All-American wrestler. Here he is. Andrew, say hello to the fans.
Good evening. Hello.
There you go. And I have my niece, the absolutely amazing songstress, songbird. She can sing you a lullaby, and eventually she'll be able to do a tourniquet because she's going to school for nursing. And this is my niece, Caylie McElroy.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
And in the gallery, I've got Dee Dee, second week in a row. Thank you so much. We can't see her, but that's okay. She's waving to everybody, okay? So, how was your weekend? What'd you guys do, Bill?
I did a whole lot of nothing. It was kind of nice. Didn't have a lot of running around to do. Kind of was lazy. Worked on a couple things for the church and then just chilled. So not really much to report. It was
Right
nice.
on. Awesome.
Relaxing.
Andrew, what'd you get done this weekend?
Practice, really, wrestling and, just different stuff. Not a lot.
You're going for a second consecutive season as a All-American?
Of course.
What weight class you wrestling in?
144.
Whoo!
144 pounds.
That's a tough one. It's
not
like
for me.
No, not for me. Clearly not for you. And Caylie, what'd you got going on this weekend?
A whole lot of work. I worked a lot this weekend. And that's basically it. I went to work and then I came home and I hung out with some of my friends at college and dropped them off at the airport because they're all going home for Thanksgiving break.
Wow.
That's about it. Yeah.
Are you going home for Thanksgiving break?
I am home for Thanksgiving break.
There you go.
I live 15 minutes away from my house.
There you go.
it's not
There you
hard.
go. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So, plans for Thanksgiving. What are we doing?
Eating a whole lot of food.
Yep.
That's literally
That's
the
about
plan every single year.
Sadly, I can't.
What do you mean you can't?
I have a tournament, a quad meet Wednesday, Thanksgiving after that, and then another one Friday and Saturday back to back. So
Who books these things for you guys?
the state, sadly.
The state.
Yeah.
Do they know that it's a national holiday on Thursday? Like, I'm curious.
I couldn't tell. There's no wrestling on Thursday, but I can eat a ton. I probably still will though.
So, like, how close to 144 are you?
Probably about 5 pounds off, and I have till Wednesday, and it's easy for me.
So 5 pounds over or 5 pounds under?
5 pounds over.
Ooh.
So what you're telling me is that you could eat on Thanksgiving and you would be 144
I could
for your
eat,
tournament.
I could probably eat a significant amount on Wednesday or Thursday and still make weight Friday.
Why not just go up a weight class?
I don't want to.
I mean, you said it wasn't that hard for you.
I'm a
earlier.
weight bully. So
Oh,
yeah, I was during before season during the summer, I was probably like 160 pounds.
grief, man.
And yeah, and then I cut down to 144. So everyone's a lot smaller than me. It's easy.
You know, I was the complete opposite. I was a weight bully in the opposite direction. When I wrestled my first year, I was 140 and I was wrestling the 142 weight class, which was like, okay, that was aggressive. And I did pretty well. The next year I went back and I was 150 and I was wrestling at the 155 and I did really well with that. Well, the summer between 9th and 10th grade, I put on significant weight and I couldn't lose the 4 pounds to be in the 171 weight class. So I was 175, but our captains were in the 189 weight class. And I was just like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to bump them from competition. So I'll just wrestle up. Well, the next weight class was 215. I went 10-3 that season and it should have been 11-2. And you want to talk about bullying people? Same physical strength, still benching 285, close to 300 pounds, still squatting 480 and ragdolling these guys at 215, ragdolling them. Like, I was an absolute nightmare.
I think it's honestly easier being like lighter and wrestling heavier people because you're just so much faster. And we have a couple guys on our team that are like the 170, 180 range. And I wouldn't say they're stronger than me, but they're pretty strong, but I'm too fast for them. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's a bit of it's a bit of a nightmare because they're like, well, it's kind of like if you guys have seen Dragon Ball Z at all. Oh, never mind. Well, wasted
You
reference.
lost me there.
Wasted reference. Okay. Anyway, going Super Saiyan versus Super Saiyan like 2, like you put on size, but you lose the speed. So like these guys put on the size, but they lose the speed. But you're running around at like, oh hey, I'm 140.
Yeah.
You're just ragdolling them. It's like, oh, that's awful. That's awful. I never ever should have wrestled that way, and it was obnoxious. Because yeah, it was obnoxious.
It's a fun sport.
It is.
It's a great sport.
What's your favorite part
about it?
Yeah.
The violence.
Okay.
I mean, he's being honest, I guess.
Okay. So for those who didn't see, because the camera wasn't on me, I burned my tongue because the tea was hot. It's Earl Grey. The tea was hot, and then what he said caught me off guard. So yeah, that wasn't cool. I had to swallow that.
I didn't hear you order that.
What?
I didn't hear you order that from the replicator. Tea, Earl Grey hot.
Earl Grey hot. Caylie, I haven't seen you in a few months.
It's been a minute.
Yes.
It's been a while. Yeah.
And I'm so glad to see you. I'm always grateful to see you.
Well, I'm glad to see you too. And I'm glad that you invited me to come be on the show today.
Absolutely. So what's life been like on college campus?
Honestly, well, this is my second year. I'm a sophomore. It's good. I mean, I like my college life. It's like a weird level of independence compared to being at home, for sure. Like, I live by myself.
No roommate?
No, not this year. So my freshman roommate, she lives on the same floor as me this year, but we're not in the same room. We have single rooms.
You don't have to smell anybody else's farts now.
Right.
That's
I know.
good.
It's nice. Actually, that's not true because she does come in my room and fart in my room.
And then she leaves?
And then she likes to leave.
Do you want to shout her out? Just kind of expose her on the interwebs?
Hi, Livy. Livy, if you're watching this, I just told the entire world, well, the entire Facebook world, that you like to fart in my room.
And they're probably Taco Bell farts, aren't they?
Yeah. And it's just like, I think her
Bean
favorite
burritos.
her favorite word right now too is crop dusting.
Oh,
That's just her favorite word. So she likes to say that a lot. So
nice.
yeah.
That's very classy.
But yeah, my life, I mean, it's great. It's also like something I've talked a lot about with my friends is it's odd to like just be an adult. Like I was sitting at lunch yesterday with Livy, and we had just like grabbed brunch somewhere, one of our places that we like. And we were just talking about how like when we were kids, quote unquote, when we were like younger, we would always talk about how we were so excited to drive a car and have our own house and do things by ourselves and like not have our parents be the one taking us everywhere. And then like once you kind of get to that point, you don't even like really realize it. Does that make sense? You don't even realize that like you're doing it or you're in that part of your life.
I 100% get it.
It's kind of odd. It's weird.
I remember that conversation kind of with self. It's like, oh man, I can't wait to grow up and get mail. And now all the mail that I get,
it's all bills.
It's bills. Like who the hell wants that?
No one wants that.
Like
bills,
I mean,
bills, and they send you the AARP stuff too soon.
Listen,
I'm not 60 yet.
But you can get your AARP. It's not necessarily meant for somebody who
I don't want to though.
I don't either. But I started getting it at like 35 when I moved here.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And the offers for extended car warranties and all the other crap.
It's just so weird. Like my position right now, I was excited to go to college, but then they don't tell you about like having student loans and paying for a place to live and looking at apartments, and your books cost $300 and you have to pay for gas to go everywhere if you have a car on campus, and the only food you really eat is microwave mac and cheese. And it's just like it makes me so thankful to come home sometimes, because like it's something that you want to leave so fast, but then like you take for granted like having a home cooked meal and like your mom buying your groceries for you, or like just like getting to do something without like, because I tell my friends all the time, I'm like, feels like every single time I like breathe, I owe somebody $50. And like that's just pretty much how it feels. Like being an adult. That's the like best way for me to encapsulate how it feels.
So nephew, don't grow up. It's a trap.
I don't really have that choice.
It's a trap. Don't do that. Like, don't grow up. Just be.
I'll try my best.
Be 15.
Okay.
Forever.
For the rest of my life.
For the rest of your life, forever and ever and ever.
I'll try my best on that one. I'll put that on my Christmas list.
Yeah. You do it like little Timmy from what was that? He had the two fairly godparents.
Oh yeah. Timmy Turner.
Timmy Turner. Yeah. So a million wishes.
I mean, there are some people who just never grow up. Do you know what I mean? There are some people who are like,
just like
40 years old living in their parents' basement.
Those are the people you don't like, so I don't want to be like that.
Kind of it reminds me. Have you seen Friends?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. So Rachel goes out with a guy from high school who was like the most popular guy in high school. It's like, so, what kind of friends do you have? And he says, oh, you know them all already. Because like he peaked in high school.
Oh god.
And that was it. It was like all of his friends were the same cool guys from high school. They just stayed cool in high school into adulthood. So where do you live? Oh, I still got my room at my parents' house.
No.
Nope.
Oh dear.
Absolutely not.
That
has got to be.
You know what though? People make fun of that, but it's darn near free. I mean, I'm not saying that you should be in your parents' basement until you're like 45, but like, man, like this society encourages people just to like jump out of the nest and go, and you incur so much debt when you do that.
100%.
It's talk to my brother about that.
Yeah.
Shout out Brian's brother.
Yeah, right.
You know what was one of my biggest fears?
What?
Coming into college, peaking in high school. Kind of on the same topic of what we were talking about. And I feel like I know some people who are like that. Like it was like when I was a junior, senior in high school, there were kids that were like freshly graduated or like that I'd known or whatever that would just like come back to the high school all the time. They like come to our lunch period and stuff and be like, I used to run the school, stuff like that. And it's just like you graduated like 6 months ago.
Used to run
like you were just here. And I don't understand what the appeal is of like why do you feel the need to come back and see all of us again?
Because they're institutionalized.
Right. But it's like that was one of the things I was like, I would rather run my own foot over with a car than peak in high school.
I'd like to see how you're gonna
I think it's possible.
You haven't seen that. You haven't seen that?
No.
Okay, so high speed chase.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it was in Texas. Dude he's making crazy moves with this F-150 or a Dodge Ram, something like that, 1500. And he's just about like blown all the tires. He's out of gas, something like that. So he decides I'm going to surrender. So he jumps out of the car. He jumps out of the truck and lays with his hands, like he lays face down with his hands behind his head, and the car is still rolling. But when he laid down, you see where this is going. The back wheels like roll over. So he's like, ah, and he wants to grab his leg, but he knows that's a sudden movement. So he's like, and the helicopter's watching and it's like, this guy's got to be the dumbest idiot we've ever seen. Like,
could have at least put it in park, buddy.
At least put it in park. Oh my gosh.
Did you know that if you get hit by any kind of like school bus, school car of any kind on campus, they pay your tuition completely? If you get hit, it doesn't matter even if like they ran over your pinky toe, like or barely like grazed your foot. If you get hit by like a car, a bus, or anything like that belongs to the university, they have to pay your tuition in full.
I don't understand why people aren't
for how long
out trying to freaking
until you graduate
commit fraud right now.
I know. I've planned this out with my friends on several occasions. I'm like, I am going one day. I'm just going to try and figure out how to time it perfectly to where like I get my foot run over and I have to walk with the cast for a couple of weeks, months, just whatever. But then I have no debt.
And now you just outed yourself on.
You can't even. It can't even be legit. Like
no.
Boom. Well, she went on Facebook and she said, "Hey."
We went back and looked at your social media history,
and this is live, so I can't even edit this. I'm sorry.
So if you know who I am and you know where I go to school and you're watching this, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not from here. I don't go. I'm not even in college right now. I don't even know what you mean. I'm definitely not going to do that.
I should have brought for you.
No.
Kit Kats.
That's actually funny because before I came here, I was considering going to Schnucks and getting a bag of Kit Kats.
And just sitting there eating them.
And just sitting there
slowly.
And eating them. Have you ever told the Kit Kat story on the podcast before?
I can.
Do you want to tell them about it?
Let's tell the Kit Kat story.
Why not?
Okay, so we're talking 6 years ago.
Probably.
2018.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we had just done Trunky, and kids doing trick or treat, but in the church parking lot, and they're walking around to all the cars and they're getting candy. Cool. Well, Caylie here absolutely loves Kit Kats.
For reference, I have like only a couple candies, like Halloween wise, that I really like, and we didn't have a lot of the ones that I liked at Trunky that year, and I remember that. But every single year when we get candy, at least in the past, like Andrew and Julia and like all of the younger kids that run through our house would eat all of the good candy first.
Oh, of course.
So it would literally just be like the bottom of the barrel stuff that you never eat and that sits in that candy jar for like 3 months before mom decides to throw it out. But at this point, there was one Kit Kat left in the jar.
Let's see. You were, I want to say maybe 13.
12 or 13, something like that.
At the time. So I don't know if you've seen there's a TikTok thing where a guy like leans in to like kiss his woman and then he just grabs her candy and eats it. I wasn't leaning in to kiss this girl. No. We were sitting just perpendicular to each other. She's at the head of the table. I'm sitting here, and she was talking about how much she loves Kit Kats. And she unwrapped the Kit Kat, and just as she was about to put it in her mouth, I grabbed it out of her hand and just ate the whole thing. And she said something to me that still haunts me to this day. What did you say?
I looked him dead in the eye, and I was
with the only seriousness in your face too.
Right.
It wasn't even like a smile or a hint or anything. It was like,
yeah, I think at that point in my life, that is the maddest I'd ever been in my whole entire life. He takes the Kit Kat and he puts it in his mouth. He starts chewing it, but he's not chewing it normally. He's going,
oh, was that what I was doing?
Yes. Like just looking at me. And I looked at him and I said, if looks could kill, you'd be dead right now. And I think I like legit scared him in the moment because I was so mad. I was so mad.
I felt the tinkle run down my leg. Like I was so legitimately like, oh no, I think I might have crossed a line here that I can't go back to. So
see, if you were a good person, you would have left right then and there and went and purchased some Kit Kats. But you're just not.
No, I'm not. and I was going through a divorce and I was a terrible person at the time. Not that that is any excuse for what it is that I did, but good grief, man. Like,
But I was going through it too. I needed that Kit Kat more than you did.
You probably did. And like it legit scared me. I was like, oh, I really think I crossed the line here. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So it was maybe 6 months or so later, I was in Schnucks and I came across like a big party size bag. And I was like, hey, Caylie, I got something for you. And I gave it to her and she was like, this doesn't change anything.
Like you still owe me a lot more Kit Kat.
Yeah.
You should have like taken a dump in the bag and handed it back to him.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jeez.
Imagine if I would have like unraveled all of the bags and I put poop in every single like thing and I handed it back to you and it looked like a perfectly like normal thing
I
of Kit
don't
Kats.
know how you would do that.
I don't know how I pull it off, but I could probably find a way.
I have a vacuum
That's
sealer.
Too
We're
much
fine.
effort. I feel like.
I mean, like you could take dog poop,
Nummy.
like little tiny dogs, like their poop would. Fit
She's gonna
perfectly
go all
in
out.
that
She's
bag.
gonna get she's gonna make the inside of the things dog poop and like chocolate coat them, emboss the Kit Kat logo on them.
Oh.
She's been
That way you're
planning
like,
this for a
oh man,
while.
I'm gonna eat all of yeah.
Okay, well now I can't do that, and I've been planning this for years now.
No crap.
Look what you just did.
I know.
Wait, what? That was a look of genuine concern. Yeah.
Never gonna eat anything you ever give to him.
Right.
No.
Made
It's
you
like,
some brownies, Brian.
oh, absolutely not. I saw The Help. I'm not
Uh,
about that life.
The Help.
That was pie, but yeah.
It was pie.
It was pie.
I'm not about that life. No, not at all.
There's something about this just so tasty.
Yeah.
Scrumdiddly.
I will never forget watching that movie for the first time. And when I'm not gonna say what she said on the thing, but when she like looked at her in the face and said that to her, and she was like, "Huh?" And then it kicked in, and she like
And grandma, the
started
mom,
laughing.
was the one who caught it first, and she was like, "Oh, that's
Oh.
why the pie's not for anybody else."
Yeah,
but her."
right. Right.
That's great.
That was
like-
epic though. Like that chick deserved every bit of that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There was no returning from that.
Nope.
Right.
So Christmas is coming.
So excited.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm really excited.
What you got going on Christmas?
Same thing. Spending time with my family. I'm going abroad in the next semester. So
Oh,
beginning in January, I'm
where you
studying
off to?
Madrid.
Oh,
I'm spending the
France. I love it.
France,
What is wrong with you?
Spain.
I know it's Spain.
Yes, but
Barcelona,
right.
home of the
I'm-
92 Olympics.
How do you know that off the top of your
I
head?
know a lot about a lot.
Random thing.
Just
That's true.
yeah.
Makes sense. But yeah, no,
That's why I host this show. Like,
got a lot to talk about. Might as well talk about it.
but yeah, what took you to Madrid?
So my school actually offers a program that lets you go study abroad at some point. For the nursing majors, it's usually fall or spring of your sophomore year. And I wanted to go spring just because it was more convenient for me, and I felt like that would just be better with my schedule and everything. So I had known for a while that I wanted to do it. I just wasn't sure if I was going to follow through with it or not. But Livy, my roommate that I mentioned earlier, she's going. And most of my other friends are going as well. So it's like the perfect time to go.
So she'll
Very
still be
excited.
able to fart on you. That's good.
Yeah. And we're not sharing a room, but I'm sure she'll continue to crop dust me
No,
all the time.
that's excellent.
You know, you mentioned crop dusting. This is the second time you've mentioned it. And I can honestly tell you there's no better place to do that than in New York City because
Really?
nobody knows who did it.
Right.
I used to do it.
Perfect.
I used to do it on subway trains all the time. Platforms.
That's so
I mean,
evil.
I would drink.
You
like-
literally just gotta have the same disgusted look on your face as everybody else does, and you're like,
It's so
Who-
funny to
oh,
me. It's so
God,
funny
what
to me.
is-
Yeah.
What is that?
That's a running joke in my friend group where we'll all be in a room together and somebody will fart, and we always know who did it because the first person that does it goes, Ugh. "Who farted?" And it's just like funny. It's just a hilarious joke between us, and it's almost always the person that did that. That's the one that did.
Whoever
that
smelt
farted.
it, dealt it.
Yeah.
Whoever denied it, supplied it.
I used to
Were
get
there any
so
others?
embarrassed
"Oh,
Why?
whenever I would because I would if I was in like grade school and I was the one that farted. Obviously, I'm gonna go, ew, like who farted? And then everyone would blame it on me, and I would get embarrassed because like I knew I was the one who did it. but I like didn't know how to act like I
I
wasn't
mean, you
the
could
one who
also
did it.
take the other approach and just be dead silent with this straight look on your face and just stare at everybody that's looking around.
I have a couple of these stories too.
Oh gosh.
So I'm outing all family today. My cousin
Oh,
Kelvin.
gosh.
I don't know if you're watching. I don't care.
Kelvin, not
Kelvin,
Celsius or Fahrenheit.
not Celsius
my
or Fahrenheit.
goodness.
Yes, and my cousin Kim. They grew up like in the same building, so they were like siblings. Anyway, so Kelvin, and this is so bad because they're both on Facebook, and I'm streaming this live to both of my Facebook pages. And it's gonna be like, ooh. Anyway, so he lets one rip. And he goes to my cousin Kim and he's like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. And she's like, what? Don't say anything. He's like, oh, I just farted. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. And it starts to permeate. And everyone's like, oh my God, who needs a cleaning? Like, who needs
Somebody's colon's jacked up.
Yo, like,
Oh my goodness.
it's not that somebody ate something, like something crawled and died. And then whatever came out of that also died. So like, it's just awful. But he was like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. And the other story, I'm not even going to say, I was in Walmart with a friend, and this was here just like a few years ago. So I'm in Walmart with a friend, and this guy walks by with his girl, and I swore they crop dusted. And I'm like, this is awful. No, like it was so bad. I called them out on it. Like it was.
Oh, that's funny.
So I'm like, yo, you have no upbringing. Like you're disgusting. No. Don't come over here. Those people over there just farted and they just walked away, and it smells awful over here. I'm just letting you know. Like, don't do that. Like, I'm in it because I'm already in it, but like, don't
Because I'm already in it.
don't come here. Like, give it a minute or so. And it was a woman and her kids. And I was like, just hang there until it goes away. You nasty bastard. How could you? You're disgusting. And the guy just kept walking. Like everything was cool, calm, and copacetic. And I'm
Oh my
like,
gosh.
you're disgusting.
Didn't you know that's like the best thing to do in a big crowded store is drop one and then walk off and watch people's reaction?
Right. But I don't think anybody expected it to be as visceral as my reaction.
Right.
So I'm like, that's horrible. Like, why would you do
Ugh.
that? So like 2 or 3 days later, I'm hanging out with the same friend again. And this friend goes, remember a couple days ago when somebody ripped ass in Walmart? It was me. And I was like,
oh no.
oh, that's not okay. And they said, yeah, that was me. But you had made such a big scene about the whole thing. I didn't want to be the one who you were talking all of that about because you made such a big scene about it.
Yeah.
So like I couldn't fess up to it until now that I remembered. And I was like, oh, wow, that actually makes this even funnier because it was you. By the way, you need a colon cleaning. Like,
Right.
That was like legitimately a green cloud that was hanging
Right.
no,
around.
for real, just hanging over all of Jerusalem. Like, kill the firstborns. Like, oh,
So
with this. Like, oh, that's terrible. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's that. I have been the perpetrator of said crop dusting, as I mentioned in New York. That's always wonderful. When you get a good breeze outdoors and you can still smell it, that's impressive.
I love that of all the topics we've discussed today, that is the one that we have chosen to dive the deepest into so far is crop dusting.
They are
So-
also like some of the funniest YouTube videos when people do it. Like,
Really?
yeah, they'll literally just, and most of the time what they'll do is they'll try to walk by and make it as loud as possible by old people. Because the old people give the best reactions. Because old people just don't care.
They
But
have no filter.
they'll walk by and just and
I
the old-
love I love the ones where people are farting and they're trying to cover it up with a cough, but they just don't time it right. Yeah, it like comes out the wrong time.
Whoops.
I've had people do that during my classes before too. It's just like it's funny too because most of the time, like you know exactly where it's coming from. Because it never happens in my like 200 people lectures. It happens in my like,
Usually it comes from somebody's ass. But yeah.
but it's Never mind.
No. It's usually
Yeah.
what the 30
It's
to
usually,
40.
Yeah, it's usually like I had a couple like 20-person classes last
Oh,
semester.
that's small.
And,
Even,
like, a lot of
that's dangerous. You can
It's
narrow
so
that down
dangerous.
easy.
But like, why? Like, if you know that there's not a lot of people in here and it's so quiet in here, like, why would you even try? Like,
Get up and leave, or hold it
Right.
till you pass out.
Or own it. Just stand up and be like, "Brrr,"
yeah,
and look around and wait for the clapping to start.
yeah.
You
right.
know.
I did see. You're right. I can't believe we're spending this much time on this.
It's insane to me.
I saw a Facebook reel where this guy gets in an Uber and he goes, "I see that you're a 5-star Uber driver. I'm gonna give you 1 star if you roll the windows down."
Oh,
And it was-
oh my gosh.
I think that's a felony. That's got to be assault. There's no way. Neff, question: has anybody that you've ever wrestled let one rip during wrestling?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I usually get mad. But so like the Turk, or when you like
The Turker?
no, the Turk, you know, you Turk somebody by their stomach. You don't know what that move is?
Torque them?
They call it a Turk.
Turk?
Okay.
Anyways,
go with it.
that and like when you just like get the around the, I can't even think of the
The
names
oblique?
now. No, it's just like when you're on top and you just grab the never mind. Anyways, so it's usually when you're just like grabbing their stomach super hard, and I had control of his arm and his stomach, and I rolled back like super hard and obviously squeezed his stomach, and all you hear as you're going on just and it was loud. There was no denying it, and I just let him up. After that,
I'm done.
I got it out. I was gonna get like the back points and I couldn't
That's
handle
all
it.
you, bro.
See, but what you did to him was like the equivalent of those videos where like you have like a baby that's really constipated
Yeah.
or whatever, and
You
you just
squeeze
like
on the stomach.
push them, squeeze
Yeah.
them, and
And
then
they
you pull their
finally-
legs up
yeah.
and then they fart. That's what you did to him.
Sadly,
He might have sharded a little.
Yeah, probably.
I would check this out. It was good. It was in a white singlet.
No.
Like,
Oh no.
Could you imagine?
Oh.
Like you do that?
I think I might have shed a tear. I might have.
Was it that bad?
It was pretty loud. It was,
But did it smell?
yeah. It was nasty, and it's like it was at their school too. So like
all his friends are like
his
"Oh, you
friends, his
farted."
family, his school, and like all that had to say. He looked like sad after it, like that people had to see it. I would say I felt bad, but I was just morally disgusted.
morally
Yeah.
disgusting.
I was honestly, that's
Morally
top 10 most disgusting things that's happened to me. I don't know why, because I was just like, you know, you're really like in the zone, you got your adrenaline pumping, and then like someone just lets like, and I'm not talking something little, I'm not talking like a little toot. Like this was like
A foghorn.
Monstrous.
this
fart.
was like at least 3 seconds. I'm talking, and like I literally just rolled through, and then I heard it, and I realized what it was, and I just like stood up, and I was like,
like, okay, I'm
It
done.
was like a Daddy Yankee video.
I was like, no, I was like, that's got to be like, it's got to be a caution or something. I got to get a penalty point for that.
Right.
That's not right. That's not okay.
Mm-mm.
Gonna get pink eye.
Oh man, that is the absolute worst. Oh my
Never had
gosh.
that gladly.
Oh dear Lord. Mm-mm.
It's terrible.
Never had any of those wrestling diseases, Greg, gladly.
So wrestling disease like what?
Like ringworm, infantigo, stuff like that.
Infantigo. What's that?
You don't know what that is?
No.
It's like another skin disease, basically. It's nasty. You get crazy sick off of it.
Oh,
Never had it.
Wrestling mats are disgusting.
they are. We used to bleach our mats.
Oh, yeah. Ours is like, you're not allowed to be in the room while they're mopping it. It's crazy concentrated.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. I'm not complaining at all.
Right.
You walk in and your eyes just start to water, and you're like, "Ah."
Yeah, that's how it was. They clean the mats before and after practice and stuff like that. But sometimes they'll do it like a little early, and you'll come in, you'll be like, "Oh my god,
Mhm.
oh my god, it's strong." It just punches you in the face like that guy's fart. I felt like it was in a boxing match during that. It wasn't wrestling no more. It was a boxing match. He hit me with the crop dust left hook.
That was
God.
his self defense.
His
Wow.
signature
Right.
move.
So what's your go-to? No, wait, I can't ask that because like
You're
if
gonna give
any
out
of
my secrets, if any of my
yeah,
enemies are
if
watching,
any of your enemies are watching, anybody that you're gonna wrestle later this season, yeah, I can't. I'm just gonna have to watch your matches. When's your
yeah.
When's your first match?
This Wednesday at
Oh.
the high school
Oh, okay.
here in town.
Right on. And you said it's a quad meet?
Yeah, it's like Cahokia, East St. Louis, all those surrounding areas.
Right on. That's going to be good.
It wasn't good last year for them, but
No, not for them. Screw them. They're like, you're wearing the wrong color jersey, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care about you. Yo, I am so glad that you've picked up wrestling. I remember when you watched Cobra Kai and you
I was
wanted
really
to do
into
karate.
that when I was younger.
Yeah, well,
did.
obviously not when you're older, because like that hasn't happened yet, Marty McFly.
What?
It's a Back to the Future reference.
I
It's a
know what
time
it is.
travel thing.
I'm
Great
confused on
Scott!
the reference.
It wouldn't have happened yet, so it would have had to have happened when you were
Oh
younger.
yeah, but
I was scrolling through videos on Mom's Facebook. I was feeling a little bit nostalgic the other day, and I came across when you were so obsessed with Newsies. Just like Mom would take videos of you just like this close to the TV, like dancing and like pretending to be in the musical. And I was just thinking about that.
just
those
help me
like
out here.
memories.
There's girls watching this, guys.
Right.
So what?
I'm just
It's
playing.
okay.
You're a musical theater kid.
I still like the music. I haven't watched it in a minute, but you know it's good. I
You
enjoy
watched it this summer.
I did.
We went to stages, remember?
I
With
forgot
him.
about that.
We went to stages to see it.
Right.
Like,
That
it was pretty awesome.
Great experience. Great experience.
But that's a really great segue because, you know, Wicked just hit theaters.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't
Have
seen
you-
it.
I haven't seen it yet.
I saw it.
What was your take on Wicked?
So I will say, like, I feel like most people, I was a little bit worried about Ariana Grande being in it because I have such a deep emotional attachment to like the original
Kristen
version.
Chenoweth?
Kristen Chenoweth, Adina Menzel, like just everything about it is perfect to me, and it
She's
sets
tiny, by the way.
yeah, it sets the Ariana Grande.
No,
No,
Kristen Chenoweth.
Kristen Chenoweth.
I
Oh,
used to
like
serve her-
tiny.
Yeah, I used to serve her
Tiny.
coffee when I worked at Starbucks.
Seriously,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
it was over on 54th and Broadway.
That's insane.
Directly across the street, she was doing a show, Promises with Just Jack from Will and Grace.
Oh.
So yeah,
Yeah.
he got a nomination. She did not. I don't think she did enough shows, but yeah, she was really small, but she wore heels that made her
She
like
is like a tiny
the
girl.
heels made her 5 feet tall.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
crazy.
yo.
She's really short. But yeah, no, I was worried about Ariana Grande being in it because I just like I've grown up listening to a lot of Ariana's music, and it just like I was worried that there wouldn't be that kind of like similarity and like matching vibe that came from Kristen Chenoweth's performance. Because I feel like I said, that sets this standard for most people, so it's like hard to perfect that or get near perfect towards that. But it was beautiful. I watched it. Cynthia Erivo is in it too,
Mhm.
as Alphaba, and genuinely Cynthia Erivo is my new obsession. She's like, I'm obsessed with her now.
See, I saw the musical at the Fox, and so I feel like my view would probably be tainted.
I also saw it at the Fox though.
Yeah.
That was the first musical I ever saw at the Fox was Wicked.
It was
And that was
very
like the
good.
first musical I've ever seen, period. And like a live setting. But I went and watched it with my friends. We actually ended up, so we went to the theater and everything was great. Like the movie was great. We were having a good time. And it's like the last like 8 minutes of the movie.
Somebody farted.
The most important
So much.
the most important part of the whole thing, like the end, because I don't know if you've like read anything about it, but it doesn't, well, the musical itself is 3 hours long just to
Mhm.
go sit and watch.
Yep.
And so
There's
like
a 15-minute intermission in there.
Oh my gosh.
whatever. But the end, like to fit all of that into a movie adaptation is impossible. Like that would be like a 5-hour movie.
Well, have you read the book?
No, I haven't read the book. But yeah, it was just like it wouldn't have been possible. So they split it up into 2 parts. So the end of this movie ends at Defying Gravity, and that's what we see at the end. And then they're releasing another part next year, same time. It's like November-ish, which is the second part in the end of the movie.
Holy cow.
So they split it up and they're doing 2 different parts
That
of it.
makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like it makes more sense, especially if you're trying to expand on the story. And it's like,
I just got full body chills. Like
Yeah.
that's actually pretty that's
Yeah.
actually the way to go. Yeah.
yeah, so they edited it Defying Gravity, and the last 8 minutes of it is like the last bit of Defying Gravity, and like the end scene, which has most of like the most important character building things that happen. And we're getting ready to watch the end of it. And I don't want to spoil anything because none of you have seen it, but it literally, the screen goes
I'd also eat your last Kit Kat, like,
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Like, I would just, out of spite.
So the screen goes
Screen
blank?
absolutely goes black.
What do you mean it goes black?
In the movie theater, screen goes black. The movie doesn't end like that. We could hear the audio. We could hear what's happening. All of the sound effects, all the music, Cynthia Erivo still singing, all these things. There's like the choir moment at the end of the movie. Screen's completely black.
Oh, they should have refunded you your tickets.
They gave us readmission tickets when we left the theater, but everybody in like the theater collectively was just like, oh my God. Like everyone just sat there and was like, you've got to be kidding me right now. I looked at my friends. I was like, I'm not leaving until I see the last 8 minutes.
That has never happened to me.
Yeah. And we think it might have to do with the fact that like the movie went over midnight. And so maybe like that screen automatically shuts off at midnight or is programmed to do something like that.
Oh, fight me.
Yeah. And so
Right.
we
For
were
real.
so angry about it. But other than like that happening, the movie from start to finish was great. And I love, like, I think it's hard to take something that is like so widely known and recognized and make it good as a movie adaptation. It's just hard. And it comes with a lot of backlash for sure. But I think that there's just like some elements of it that were portrayed so well because they have like the ability to make it cinematic and to add and incorporate things that you just can't do in musical theater.
Right.
It was beautiful. I would watch it a million times again. It was great.
Well, we got to go see it.
Yeah, I definitely recommend.
Couple of nightmare moments from Broadway. This was many years ago. So Defying Gravity is starting, and the young lady who was playing Elphaba at that time forgets the lyrics.
Oh no! How do you forget what?
And
How do you
then,
forget the lyrics?
and
to
then
Wicked?
just goes and like hums along with it.
No, that's soul crushing.
Soul crushing.
It's devastating.
I took my mom to see Wicked. It was Mother's Day. I want to say maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And that was one of the coolest experiences ever because on Broadway, it's a massive theater.
Oh yeah.
Like the Winter Garden is pretty big, but I think the Winter Garden holds like 1,500. I think that's the Gershwin Theater, but it's a really big theater. And the guy who was playing the Wizard at the time, he has since passed. We ran into him. My mom and I ran into him on a subway train. Like we were all on our way to work at the theater. And I was like, Mom, that's the dude who played the Wizard. And I forget his name, but he also played Rick Moranis's character from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He played that in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show.
I was going to say it's not, oh gosh, I can't think of his
He was
name
also
now.
in Girls.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. But yeah, it was really awesome to see him. He at one point was married to one of the Christines in Phantom, which was kind of cool.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember.
I'll show you the picture. Yeah. But yeah, it was such a fun show. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with what Wicked is, it's the story of the Wizard of Oz, but the Wicked Witch of the West is the protagonist, and she's not wicked, but it's amazing how if enough people buy into something, it becomes true.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was all propaganda. It was all meant to unite Oz or whatever, but
yeah,
it ends up being crazy. I didn't know that.
It also, like, a lot of people don't realize that the Wizard of Oz is not like before Wicked happens. It's kind of in the middle. So it happens like within the same timeline that Wicked is happening, because Wicked starts with like how Elphaba is born and her journey to Shiz and all of the stuff that happens at the university and everything like that. And then like towards the middle of Wicked is when the Wizard of Oz takes place and everything kind of like flows through that way. And also there are so many Easter eggs to the Wizard. And it's crazy. It's like just a bunch of like hints towards like what happens and all these things. And if you've never watched Wicked, I don't want to say anything like about it because there are like things that coincide with one another. So like characters that are found in Wicked are also characters that are prominent in the Wizard of Oz, and you would have to understand Wicked to understand Wizard of Oz. But the Wizard of Oz came out before Wicked did.
Right.
So it's like, but they happen kind of at the same time. They coincide with each other.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I think I spoke about it last week. There was Star Kid with Darren Criss.
Mm-hmm.
They did a show called Twisted,
Mm-hmm.
where the protagonist was Jafar in Agrabah. And he's like, I'm just trying to maintain order. And this street rat's over here just stealing stuff and causing trouble.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to maintain order in Agrabah when this guy's running around doing whatever?
Right.
So it's a different take on it, but it's really interesting to see the whole thing happen.
Yeah.
Bill's about to pull that picture up.
It'll be a second.
It'll be a second, but he's going to pull that picture up of me and my mom and this guy. But I really wish I remembered his name because he just passed like a few years ago. But yeah, I think that's really cool. It's always tough when you get a movie that is based on a musical.
Oh yeah.
Which was then based on a book, because, you know, Wicked was a book, then it became a musical, and now it's a movie. Split. But also like Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
I want to say Joel Schumacher was the guy who ended up producing that one.
I think so.
And I remember the backlash from that because
a ton.
My aunt was the one who did the makeup on Broadway, and it was like they could have done more with that, like make him more hideous. Like he still looked like a decent human being.
Right.
It's like make him look gross.
It's just so hard, especially too, like there's like some sort of level of, I mean, Wicked is not that old. Like the first Broadway ever was 2003, I think, was the first production they ever put on with the original cast. But there's also just some like elements of modernization that go into recreating a musical like that. And I mean, like from down to like all the details of just like the choreography of the dances and what kind of like color hair Glinda has, like stuff like that.
Galinda.
It's Glinda.
It's Galinda.
It's Glinda.
It's
do you not remember that part?
It's Galinda, and they keep calling her Glinda, and then she just says, "Screw it, it's Glinda."
Yeah, kind of, but at the same time, like it's her choosing to do that.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I'm gonna go by Glinda instead of Galinda.
Yes.
Right.
Which I think was a very interesting touch, because why I think it kind of reminds me of season 1, episode 1 of Archer, where Cheryl, he's like, Carol. He keeps calling her Carol. So she has her name legally changed to Carol Cheryl. It's like, what? It's so ridiculous. Like, why? Why would we do that? I don't know. Because I want him to remember my name. Like, that's the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. It's like, Carol Cheryl. Yeah.
It reminds me of well, it's not the same thing, but it reminds me of the episode in Friends where Chandler has that the name thing on his desk, and it doesn't say Chandler Bing, it says Chanandler Bong. I will forever think about that. That is my favorite. Like,
was that where Chanandler Bong came from, or was that during? Because I remember doing this for Friends, the trivia. Mm-hmm. Chanandler Bong was the name that was on the TV guide.
Mm-hmm. It was on, I think it was on his like mail or something like that.
It was on his mail, yeah.
And it came in like that. And I don't know if maybe it happened afterwards and it was like an inside joke between all of them.
Yeah, that makes sense though.
I feel like I'm like not the person that should be like giving like the insight on Friends stuff. Also, I feel like Friends fans are insane. Like, if you don't know like everything about
So
it.
they like attack you.
Like it would
Girl.
be like, do you not remember what happened season 2, episode 3 at 10 minutes and 50 seconds? You don't tell me what that
Girl.
is. And somebody would be like, knows exactly what happened right then and there. And I'm like, I don't know.
Girl, do you know what the next trivia night is? It's The Office.
Oh,
that one's bad.
And those fans,
God.
like last week, I was up to end of season 3, beginning of season 4.
Yeah.
I'm into season 5 now. And there are 9 seasons to this thing. And I still have this week and next week to like polish up the questions that I'm creating for this thing. You people need to understand the level of commitment that I have to this trivia, because I am serious. I'm not going to it's the first time I'm watching this, but don't think like you're going to come in there and like push me around. Like it's very clear in the rules. My word is final. All right. Like you have to,
They will stab you.
I believe that. So like, can we get
Yeah,
them
probably.
plastic forks and knives?
And I got them extra sharp knives.
That is gross, man.
Do you want to show that picture or what?
Yeah. Let's put the picture up.
Oh, is it not showing?
No, not that I see.
Hold on. I may have screwed.
But
that
yeah,
up.
we were on the
Oh,
one
cool.
train and we were on our way to our respective theaters. And I see this guy. I want to say his name was Peter Scolari. That might be it. But yeah, he was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I recognize him, but I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but I've seen him before.
Yeah. And
It astonishes me. Like, I don't know how often you talk about this on the podcast, but Brian has so many pictures with so many famous people. And the first time that I had ever met him, because I'm a huge like movie, musical theater, music nerd. Like that's the kind of stuff that I just love to talk about. And it's almost like it feels like every single time that I tell a story about a certain like person that I like or a character that I really liked in a musical, he's like, "Oh yeah, I have a picture with Jeremy Jordan." Oh yeah, I was walking down the street, just like walking home from work, and I met Jeremy Jordan. Or I worked at Starbucks and I used to serve Christian China with coffee.
He's got something for everybody. You'd be like, yeah, you remember when Steve Jobs unveiled the iMac? And he's like, oh yeah, I was there. See, like,
I was on the stage,
right?
with him.
Like, I was pulling the thing off of the iMac for him, and then when Bill Gates unveiled Microsoft Windows 95, I held out the first copy for
Right.
somebody. Like,
oh
And
my
it's just
god.
like I don't like how.
It's astonishing. For
Like,
sure.
and I feel like that contributes to like my innate desire to want to live in New York City. Like I'm like we said earlier, I'm a nursing major, and so like nothing that I'm gonna end up doing has anything to do with musical theater, Broadway, anything in that genre. But one day I'm just gonna like stand outside of Gershwin Theater, and I'm just gonna be like, please pick me, please, like please, I want to do it so bad. Just because it's like always been one of my dreams.
Would
but-
you give up a year or two or a decade of your nursing career to perform on Broadway?
Absolutely. 100% yes. I love nursing. I'm very passionate about nursing and very excited to go into that career field. But if somebody ever looked me in the eyes and was like, we want you to be in Newsies, Hairspray, Wicked, Waitress, any one of those, I'd be like, sign me up. I'll quit my job right now.
What about Shrek the musical?
Perfect.
Shrek the musical was actually really good.
Make me Donkey and I'm there.
Donkey!
Yeah. Or I'll play Lord Farquaad.
They
Like-
want you to be the gingerbread man.
I'll do it.
not my gumdrop button.
The guy who played Donkey in the original run, I remember seeing him in Passing Strange.
This
Which
is
was
exactly what I'm talking about, guys. If you're listening, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
he was in Passing Strange. It was he played the younger version of the lead character, and Passing Strange was an obscure kind of musical about it was coming of age, but this dude was like, yo, I want to play music. I want to play music for real. Yeah, mom and dad are like, yeah, that's a waste of your time. Go get a real job. And he was like, no. So he left for Europe and he became a pretty big star in Europe. And then like it's basically that story of how his life went while he was in Europe, which was really cool. Daniel Breaker is his name. Yeah. He's done several movies. He's done some TV shows. And every time I see him, I'm like, yeah, I remember him from Passing Strange. People are like, I remember him from Shrek the Musical. I was like, no, he was in Passing Strange first.
Mhm.
It's like, wow, that's so weird. I remember running into Renee Goldsberg. She played Angelica
in Hamilton.
Renee
Golds something. Yeah, I can't think of it.
Goldsberry.
Renee Goldsberry.
Renee Ellsworth Goldsberry.
Angela Lansbury?
No.
Murder,
From
She
Beauty
Wrote.
and the Beast.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey,
wow.
time.
Whew, that aged me real quick. You know her from Beauty and the Beast.
I know her as Mrs. Potts.
Yes, I know her from Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. The only reason that I always remember her from Beauty and the Beast is because he has an obsession, him over there working with her doing that. He's really good at it for some reason.
Really?
No,
Yes.
not anymore.
He is,
Not
no,
anymore?
He is good at it.
No.
I
He's
bet
lying.
you can't do it though.
He's lying.
He's lying.
No.
He can do it very well, and I know it.
He's got plenty.
He's actually on the topic of Beauty and the Beast. I have always been like I was a very, very, very talkative, like little child.
Mhm.
And so I would just tell these extensive stories and I would never
Extensive.
stop talking. And I'm fully aware of that. And I'm still like that to this day. But every time I would begin to say something, I'd be like, do you want to know what happened to me at school today? And he would be like, hold on, like for a minute, stop for a second. And then as I was like doing that, waiting, he would play the entrance to Beauty and the Beast.
Oh
like
my God.
The background music, he's about to play it.
Oh, wow.
And it's like,
Once upon a time,
yeah,
in a land far away.
Quick, before Disney sues us.
right. But it was just like he would play that every single time I would
Not
start
every
talking.
time, but most.
A lot of the time.
Enough, it left an impression. She's
I will
like,
remember that for the rest of my life.
uh-huh.
She gets so mad.
Or I would say something, I would come home and I would have this really exciting story that was just like, I was so excited to come home and tell my parents. And I would get done talking. They'd be like, great story.
That was
I would
not
be like-
me. That was not me.
Who?
Great story. I'm like, okay. I'm just never going to speak ever again. I'm never going to say anything
Until
ever
the
again.
next story.
Until the next story that I have for you, which is probably going to be 10, 15 minutes from now, basically. I want to talk more about Newsies, though, because
Oh my god.
Andrew had a very deep passion for Newsies and was like obsessed
Phenomenal
with it. We had a
musical.
turtle named Crutchy.
We
I
did.
did
For a
name
while.
my turtle Crutchy.
Yeah.
We did.
We did.
Someone told me that was a bad omen or whatever, naming your like turtle after like a disability or whatever. And said,
That's not a
Bad
disability.
omen.
I don't know. Or like after something bad or something like that. I don't know. That just came to my mind. I remember something.
That turtle never broke anything. That turtle was the biggest
He
red-eared
was fat.
freaking spider.
He was fat.
Huge.
He like, you know, because they're like in their shell or his like fat rolls were like pouring out of the
Fat.
shell. He was fat. I fed him so much.
No cap. I remember when you guys were feeding him and Julia was like, I want to see. And it was like, no, you don't, Julia.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
So the traumatic incident. So I
Oh.
tried to tell all the children. So we went to PetSmart and we're like, oh, let's get something that this thing likes to eat. And one of the things that these red-eared sliders like to eat are mice.
little pinky.
Little
mice.
baby pinky mice. And they offer them live
Mhm.
or frozen.
Yeah.
I'm like, we want to get them frozen because he's gonna just eat this thing. Well, they insisted we got them live, so we had these cute little squiggly, squirmy, pinky mice, and
Did
they're
you
like,
name
"Oh,
it?
they're so adorable." And I don't know if they named them or not, but
I
anyway,
really hope not.
they so
Evening
adorable.
Snack was the name.
Oh,
And then
Dinner?
so we go home and we drop these little pinky mice into the tank, and the turtle goes over. And if you can't handle graphic explanations,
give
cover
us
your
like
ears now.
30 seconds.
But the turtle goes over
Starting
and,
now.
and like looks at the thing and just kind of back and forth, and then grabs it with one bite, takes its claws and rips its body in half.
That's like that was like anything it ate. It did that. It's like I guess its thing is a turtle's, but he's got these really sharp claws.
Uh-huh.
They
I
hurt.
think-
He's scratched me before, and anything
Oh.
he takes, he rips it. And all you saw is this mice go in its mouth and then guts everywhere.
ripped it, and the mouse is then trying to swim away.
Just the front half, because the back half
and
is...
the tank was red for probably 2 days.
Yeah. I tried. I'm like,
bad.
listen, if we would have gotten the frozen ones, it still would have been yuck, but you wouldn't have had to see it trying to survive.
Yeah,
and
Juju
not
was
die.
not happy
No.
about that at all.
Traumatic.
The turtle loved it though.
For sure.
He would
Yeah.
eat anything.
Yo, I've seen
literally
turtles eat their
anything.
own poop.
Oh, he
Yeah.
did.
Like, they're
I
disgusting.
feel like a lot of animals.
I
do
watched-
that.
I
It's
watched
just like,
him- I don't know. I fed him something like nasty. He threw it up and then he ate it again.
Well, you could like throw like whole chunks of ham in there, and this thing would be like,
Eat
nope,
it.
gone.
Literally anything you can think of, you
It's
would
like,
eat.
do you chew anything before you eat
Dog
it? Do you
food, cat
digest
food.
that?
He just swallowed. This thing turtles do is they
like snakes.
they swallow water with it. Fun fact: he can't eat out. Well, he couldn't. I don't have him anymore. But he can't eat outside of the water. They
Yeah.
need the water to swallow.
We had to give him up because we physically don't have the room to have a bigger tank.
He wouldn't stop growing.
He was too huge.
He started probably like this big.
Ow.
He started probably like this big, and
Mhm.
he ended off probably like this big.
Yeah, he was barely big enough to legally buy because you can't buy them when they're really
And we
small
had like a
looking.
60-gallon tank
Yeah.
too, or something crazy like
It
that.
was-
He just filled... I remember he filled that sucker out.
Yeah, it got
Yeah,
to the
he
point
would, like-
where it was too, he couldn't move around well enough. It was
Yeah, it
not
was
humane
bad.
to keep him in that small tank.
He kind of felt bad
Yep.
after a while.
So yeah, we gave him to a lady that's like, I got a 300-gallon tank.
Oh,
Yeah.
by all means.
Sure, go ahead and have
She's
them.
got like a ton of other reptiles and stuff too.
I'm like, here,
so,
take this
yeah.
giant freaking turtle.
It was a red-eared slider.
Yeah, and he was pissy.
Oh, he
Completely
Surly.
Yeah, all the time.
hiss
Like,
all the time.
very, very social. If you came up to the tank, he'd come up and look at you and everything. But if you tried to pick him up,
No, correction. If you came up to the tank, he would try to bite at you
oh
through
yeah,
the
that's
glass.
true. Yeah,
He was mean.
you could put your finger up there and he'd be like,
He'd follow your finger and try to bite it through the glass. He was not messing. You try to like pick him up out of the tank, you gotta clean off his shell and stuff every once in a while, and he'd like reach around and try to bite you. My
Yeah.
technique for that was just to shake him, so he wasn't really, yeah, but he was mean.
Egad.
And you guys wonder why our cats absolutely hate you. Like
No,
we've
the
had,
cats
I've
love
had
us.
this conversation with Mom a lot about like when we first got our cats. So we got Echo first?
Mhm.
We've had Echo the longest. and
as
we
a
got-
kitten.
Yeah, we got Echo as a kitten. That we drove to
From
get
a
him,
litter.
right?
Mm.
I
Yeah,
remember doing.
We
that,
drove
yeah.
to go get him from
No,
somewhere.
that was the black cat that died.
Oh,
Echo I got from Jen
Yeah, that was
as a kitten.
yeah.
that was Coco.
Coco was the evil cat.
Rest in peace.
But basically,
Evil.
like
Evil.
we would just like, well, and Dad does it sometimes too, but like literally we'll just chase the cats around and just like purposefully like do things to make them angry.
Oh, the dog does that. We don't need to do that.
Yeah, you don't
anymore.
Yeah.
need to do that because your dog Maverick, he's a dick. Like he's
Yeah.
just
Really is.
the cat's
And he'll like
Mhm.
bat at him.
Yeah.
and he's like, "Why are you swinging at me? I just want to love you."
right. Yeah. pretty
He's
much.
what did he catch the other day that he brought in
mouse?
for oh yeah, he caught a mouse inside the house.
Which I would like to just say that our cats are not doing their jobs because
If the
They're
dog caught one,
terrified
yeah.
of the,
they
the dog.
they like we every once in a while get a mouse in the winter and the cats are just like, hey, there's a mouse. Just wanted to let you know.
Okay.
They kind of just like stare in the area it is, and you're like, okay.
The
Well,
dog
that-
is like, I'm eating this mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a girl. I'll let him like outside and I'll open the door, and there's like the squirrels on the fence. I've never seen someone. He like gets outside and he looks around for a second and he whips his head around and he sees it and he just sprints for the life of him. He never catches them. They're like at the top of the
I feel
fence.
sorry for when the bunnies come back in the summer.
Aw.
It's not gonna be, and he's gonna be bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm training him to catch the bunnies.
So I had an assistant store manager when I worked at Starbucks, and his dad, he was from, I want to say either Oregon or it was the Pacific Northwest. So it was either Oregon or like Washington State. And his father thought it was a really good idea to like domesticate the cat by raising the cat with a mouse.
Oh.
And it was cool. They were friends until the cat realized you're food, dude. So like, dude comes home one day and the cat has the mouse by the tail and he's watching. And the mouse is trying to get away. The cat is holding it by the tail and just playing with it.
Oh.
And then finally is just like, I want to see what your insides look like, and takes one nail and just, and the mouse is like screaming bloody murder. And this is
terrible.
the last, and this dude's like 6 years old. He was in it. Let me see. We were in our 30s, 20s. Yeah, late 20s. And he was like, yeah, this still traumatizes me to this day. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding. No kidding. That's awful. But yeah. I don't know how Maverick would do in New York City with the New York City rats. Have I told you the story?
They're big. I've seen pictures.
They're like
big.
monsters. I don't. Maybe you have. I don't know.
So I was working at a theater store, and a very famous one, and I was bringing water in, like cases of water. So I dropped the first case, and I knew that we had a rat issue because mice, they dine in, rats do takeout. Like they'll take your Kit Kat bar and they will drag it to another room.
Yeah.
And they'll eat it there where they're more comfortable. Well, the manager saw like it was a Payday bar or something, was like pulled a Snickers bar, pulled into another room, a Milky Way, pulled into another room. Oh yeah, we have a mouse problem. I'm like, no, we don't have a mouse problem. We very much have a rat problem.
Yeah.
So I'm coming in one day and I've got these 2 cases of water because it's summertime, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I drop the first case and I'm sliding it under the table where the water's supposed to go. And I get the second case and I drop it, and this sucker jumps out. And I'm talking about this thing from the tip of the nose to the end of its tail was the width of my shoulders.
Jeez. That's a cat.
Cat rat is what we called it. The width of my shoulders. Okay. Like I think at this point, my shoulders are probably about somewhere between 48 and 52 inches across. It was closer to 48, but still 40. That's a long.
That's a big rat. Like a big rat.
The tail was long. But we're talking about from like the tip of the nose to the end of the tail. It was legitimately about 40 something inches like long. And I'm like, so I freak out, rightfully so. And thank God I was training for the marathon because I was a lot smaller than I am now. I jumped on top of, like, we had these islands that had shirts. So like the small, medium, large, extra large were on the bottom. And these were all custom built. And I jumped on top of it and I let out a sound. I can't replicate it because I don't know what that sound was. And I remember my friend Matt. Hi, Matt. I hope you're watching. He comes in and he's like, what's up? And he sees me standing on top of this thing, like frantically looking. And I'm like, it's around here somewhere. He goes, so he goes to lunch. And I'm like, I got to get something from the warehouse. So I take off and I go to the warehouse and I'm gone for like half an hour. And when I get back, the manager was like, you guys left me here with that thing. And I'm like, but I had to get some stuff from the warehouse. See the stuff I had brought from the warehouse? This was all stuff that we needed. I had to go to the warehouse to get the stuff so that you didn't have to tell me that I had to go to the warehouse to get the stuff because the stuff is needed and it's here.
You should have befriended the rat. It probably
do I look like Michael Jackson? Does it look like Ben?
It probably had some Ninja Turtle friends.
Absolutely not.
No, you kicked that thing.
That one dragged a slice of pizza down some stairs in 14th Street Union Square. That
How much you think that sucker weighed?
so the Orkin guy came in, put down some poison pellets, and it died in our air vent system.
Oh, of course.
Probably in about the same weight class as you are, right?
Okay.
But the thing legitimately was probably about 4 or 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Like this thing had some weight to it. And I remember just being like, yeah, no.
Should have had that taxidermy.
You know what? That's shot put right there. Straight into what is the river or whatever that goes through
Hudson?
New York? Yeah.
The Hudson or the East River? Doesn't matter. Nothing survives in those two.
By the tail, do one of these numbers and take him out.
Absolutely.
Send him back with his family.
This has been a good hour. Thank you guys for coming. I do want to leave on this note. So the financial fact of the week.
Oh, okay.
What is a mutual fund? What is a mutual fund? You hear about these things. What is a mutual fund? I have no idea. Any ideas?
What is that?
I have absolutely
What is it?
Okay, cool. So you have your stocks, and then you have bonds, and you have mutual funds. A mutual fund, in essence, it's kind of a dual meaning here. So you talk about never putting all your eggs in one basket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. In other words, don't just buy one stock and hold on to that one stock. Let's say, for example, you bought $100,000 worth of McDonald's stock, and then it turns out that they were using mad cow beef. And the stock dropped to zero. Okay. This is speculative.
Now we're getting sued by McDonald's.
This has absolutely nothing to do with what is going on with McDonald's. Okay. This is just an example. Let's say you invested in a burger chain. Okay. And it turns out that burger chain was using mad cow beef, and you've got $100,000, and that stock price goes bankrupt, and the whole thing drops to zero. How much money do you have?
Zero.
$0.
Perfect. You have $0 because you had 100,000 worth of stock, and that stock dropped to zero. So now you have no money. The company is insolvent. You're done. So the idea of a mutual fund is to help with diversification. So usually in a mutual fund, there are about 150 different fund families, 150 different stocks or bonds or whatever inside that mutual fund. And as you are investing in this mutual fund company, you're buying parts of a stock, but the whole value of that share is valued at X dollars. So if you're consistently investing in this mutual fund, you're buying more and more shares of this mutual fund, and you're buying more and more parts of these stocks until eventually you have whole stocks. But it's a great way to diversify your income. That's definition A. Definition B is you're investing $100 a month. You're investing $200 a month. You're investing $300 a month. I'm investing $50 a month. Okay. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. That's $650. There we go. $650 is being invested. There is a person who is a fund manager, and their job is to make sure that that money grows. So they're looking at all of these companies, and they're saying, hey, I'd like to have a conversation with you. Now, can you, with your $100 a month, go to a car company CEO and say, I'd like to talk about investing my $100 a month with your company. Why should I? Can you have that conversation with that CEO?
I would say no.
Probably not. You don't have enough capital to make that happen.
Doesn't care about your $100.
$100 doesn't mean anything, but a fund manager has access to hundreds of millions of dollars, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, and their job, they get paid to make that money grow. So with hundreds of millions of dollars at your disposal, can this fund manager go and say, hey, I'd like to invest in your car company. Why should I? Do they get the appointment?
Definitely.
Probably.
Yeah.
So it's professionally managed money, and it's all of our money. So it's mutual, all of us, funds money that is now invested into this fund family, which is what helps us all. And we all get equity.
Which is why when somebody comes to me and goes, hey, I'm going to start investing in stocks and Robinhood, what should I invest in? For long term, I always suggest ETFs. So like a Vanguard or an Invesco or something like that has a really good return.
And ETFs are
exchange traded funds.
Yes, very much so.
But
I'm testing his knowledge.
Yeah, I tell them put it in there and leave it, because it's a long-term growth solution. And it's not like you invested a bunch of money in, well, let's just say one Intel. I had $5,000 in Intel, and then they screwed up with their latest couple products, and now their stock's down to $20 a share from $45, $50, $60 a share, and you lost a bunch of money, and it's going to take forever for them to recover from that. Not with an ETF, because they're diversified into several different funds, several different sectors, actually, and the returns are usually pretty proven.
Yep. And if you're looking at like a fund that invests at pace with the S&P 500, the Standard & Poor's 500, you're talking about, you're going to like that thing in the last 90 years has averaged like 11.9%.
You're almost always going to get a return.
You'll beat inflation.
Right.
You'll win.
Now, if you're looking for like short-term stuff, then put your money into things that pay regular dividends and then reinvest those dividends.
Right.
But that's a game you got to play. And you got to have money for the dividends to actually matter.
Right. So that's us tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
Andrew,
us.
thank you for coming on the show.
Of course.
We look forward to seeing you. I know I look forward to seeing you this season, as you just absolutely destroy all competition.
Dominating per usual.
Yes. And
That's my thing.
And if there's anything that I can do to help you become a better wrestler, please let me know.
I appreciate that.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Don't fart as matches.
That's my
We're
one
back
rule.
at that. We're
my
back
one
at that. Caylie, it was awesome seeing you again. Thanks for coming on.
It's awesome to be here.
I love this show. I should have called this the family show.
Should have.
Yeah, that would have been great. The family show. Bill, awesome to see you as always.
You as well, sir.
It'll be a few more weeks before I get my car back. It was up and running, and now it's not. And now, whatever. That having been said, join us next week. I'm not entirely sure who our guest is.
I don't know.
Because I haven't booked them yet. But
Morgan Freeman, mark your calendars.
if I could get him here.
Give me your best Morgan Freeman voice. Can you do it?
No, I'm not even going to try.
Caylie,
Give me your like Andy Dufresne line, like Andy Dufresne. I can't.
Andy Dufresne walked out of Shawshank. You never look at a man's shoes.
Oh, if Morgan Freeman came on the show, that'd be epic.
That would be. I will say this, and I'm pushing for this. I've talked to you guys a lot about the answer is always yes. No, I don't get paid to talk about that. Good friend of mine, Alex Leahy, coming back to St. Louis April 1st. That is a Tuesday. Our show is on Mondays. I'm looking to have her here March 31st. I think it's going to be awesome. If the scheduling is right, we'll get her on the show. It'll be fantastic. That having been said, listen, this has been a really fun week. Have a happy and safe and wonderful Thanksgiving. Wednesday is going to be a crapshoot. If you can leave earlier than 4 a.m., do so. Wednesday is the most traveled holiday day in the United States by car, by plane. It's ridiculous. So drive safely. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. Let me see. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So yeah. Coming to you live from Studio B. I point to it every week and you guys still can't see it.
I'm not buying another camera.
I'm not doing it either. It's fine. Next to us, the Board Gamery, the Garden Gate Tea Room, the Downtown Diner, Studio C, and up the street, the Speakeasy, the Blind Pig. From Granite City, Illinois, I am your host, Brian with a Y, your favorite guy. You are awesome, amazing, and fantastic, and don't let anybody make you feel different. Have a great week, guys.